Hi there. Well, now that I have your attention, I want to address something that was, somebody posted something yesterday, and I commented on it, and I actually posted what I commented. But it was so it's one of them friends on, Wastebook, which, but I've known this person, pretty much my whole life, but we're not close, nothing like that. And so it was one of them posts. They had commented about the halftime show, about how some people watch this and some people were watching the other one, and that basically everybody, you don't know everybody's situation, don't be judgy and all this stuff, and that's all well and good. There's nothing really wrong with it. But I'd kept silent about something last year in June. Of course, that's the month that certain people want to claim as their own because of their sexuality and stuff like that. And in other words, actually hoping everybody had a really uncomfortable June and all that stuff. In other words, that didn't agree with that position. I kept silent about it, didn't say anything. I started to, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to say anything. But this time, put my little post out there. It was the first one really to do anything. And I said, you know what, I didn't watch any of this. I turned over to Turning Point USA and watched it and was talking about a good message that, Kid Rock about salvation, Jesus Christ, and all that. And I'm paraphrasing what I said. So you can read it. I posted it. It's not a big deal. And then one of this person's friends actually made the comment, oh, he didn't even know that Puerto Rico is territory of, the U.S. And I'm like, I did too. Because I used the word foreigner. See, that's people look for stuff like that. They look for chinks, little things. They look for, well, I still consider they are foreigners. They're U.S. citizens, but they can't vote in our elections, stuff like that. They're a territory. They're a commonwealth. They're not a state. So it's kind of a weird situation, but it's just like American Samoa and all stuff like that. There's other ones, I think, as well. But anyway, that's not really the point of it. But that's where they started from, and then basically called me an idiot and all this stuff. And I'm like, so, you know me, I'm a fighter. I just fire back and said some other stuff, and I haven't heard a response yet. But it's funny because what was overlooked, they were drawing attention to Kid Rock's, past song and all this, totally ignoring what was said yesterday in this worthless guy's songs. Total vulgarity in Spanish. If you look it up now, you'll find out it was just completely vulgar, horrible stuff. So, drawing attention to Kid Rock from 20 years ago. Well, if you'd watched A Turning Point, it was kind of funny because Kid Rock obviously lip synced through his old part, this one song from many years ago, popular. And then they went to this other thing that was like a violin and a cellist, really nice music, beautiful. And then it faded into Robert Ritchie. Well, if you don't know that, that's Kid Rock. So you got the old man and the new man, and he began to sing a song that was written by another guy, and he added a verse to it and all this, and about dusting off your Bible and Jesus on the cross and stuff like that. And anyway, the whole point of it is about sin, redemption, salvation. And there's so many people that want to point to your past. I mean, Kid Rock, he's under a microscope. So is Jelly Roll, so is Kat Von D, all these people that have lived reckless lives in the past in a public aspect, and then publicly have accepted Christ and turned their direction. And it's amazing how people can be so critical of them now, but weren't critical then. Because that's the mainstream. But when you start swimming against that stream, a lot of people, people that may go to church, they're not even Christians. They're in the building. That doesn't make, you walk into hospital, it doesn't make you a doctor. So sitting in a church doesn't make you a Christian. It's about a relationship with Jesus Christ. And I'm in my old dirty clothes and everything right now, but I'm trying to make this quick, and I know I'm not. But essentially, what was really cool about what he done, and several of the artists were awesome. I'm drawing in on what Robert Ritchie done. And it's about that old man. I think he was making it obvious. He was like, you know what? That's not me anymore, singing. And now this is who I am. This is the Robert Ritchie. This is who people. This is not the act. And for people to point and act like, look what they done. And I made a comment to this person. I said, look, you know, you must be lonely up there on that pedestal of perfection, because anybody that's a Christian knows they're not perfect. It's all about someone being perfect, Jesus Christ, who was the sacrifice, and by his grace and his blood, we are redeemed and we are saved. Because if anybody had cameras on my life growing up and could see, we will never pay for all the sins we've done. You'd never be able to pay for them in your life, but one person did, who is man and God. And that's what irritates me about even Christians the people that'll straddle the fence and claim they're this and that. And I'm sick of people straddling the fence. Call it out for what it is. I mean, you got something that was totally not American, was totally vulgar in the Spanish language. I don't speak Spanish, but I imagine a lot of people that do speak Spanish are not very happy about it. But the cool thing was having an alternative that we could go to and turn the channel and say enough is enough. And then we went to something else that was positive, and that people are going to see changed lives because of that. Because of people like Robert Ritchie that may have a past that's different, but that's not who they are now. There's a change. There's a redemption. There's Kat Von D, there's Jelly Roll. These people aren't perfect. They're not going to be perfect.